Hey, yo, what's up? It's your boy, sir, of the 2020 Podcast, LLC. Please say the LLC. And before you listen to this episode, I just got to let you know, I need you to stop what you're doing. Go to blkrenaissance.com, and I need you to shop for the culture. That's right. Anytime you use the promo code LLC20 at Black Renaissance Clothing's website, you will get 20% off your order. Off rip, no questions asked. So do me a favor and do it for the culture. Peace.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sade with Black on Black Rhymes. Step to the mic.
Mic check.
People always ask me where I get my confidence from, and I get it from inside. It's an inside thing, y'all. And when it comes to beautiful skin, I rock with Blendia by India, where her motto is, be confident in your skin. She has a variety of naturally made soaps to keep you smelling good, hair products for long, luscious, healthy hair, and even beard products for men. You know, we got to keep those struggle beards away. So visit BlendiaByIndia.com and use promo 2020skin to get 10% off your order. Thank you, Blendia by India, for being a sponsor of the 2020 Podcast, LLC. Please say the LLC.
Hey, this is Butter So Fly of Powerlines Poetry, here to let you know anytime I feel good, I have to look good, so you have to listen to me. Make sure you go to gurudesigns.com, use a 3 instead of an E. The website is great, so you can get something for yourself, and then she makes custom clothes for men too. And guess what? I got a promo code for you. Use 20/20 and it'll get you 15% off of any order $25 or more. You can't beat that. Go to gurudesigns.com.
The self-destruct sequence has been activated. Repeat, the self-destruct sequence has been activated. This sequence may not be aborted. All employees proceed to the emergency car at the bottom platform.
Okay, we lit it just like a fuse, so no need to pick and choose. Welcome to 2020, where we do more than interviews. The hottest be coming through, jumping knowledge on all of you. Get a peek at the front of you with the truth that they offer you. Yeah, hands up, we doing it for the culture. To give artists and businesses more exposure. Keeping it real and stay solid just like a boulder. It's about to go all the way down, can't get no lower. Chasing my dreams, know that they get no slower. But if I stay running, I promise they getting closer. Moreover, success my older. And if you're sleeping on me, I'm waking them up like Folgers. I told you, coming from the land with the tide roll. Well, we'll be on a whole different vibe though. We like to ride slow and keep our windows tinted so you really can see us like Stevie Wonder waking up with his eyes closed. Yeah, got the kind of flow that rock the boat. On my 16s of pounds of dope. And if you figure you can hang with me on the mic, then grab some rope. Matter of fact, better grab some hope. While you at it, we keep it live, it's time to tune in. Turn up the sound on what you're using. It goes so hard, I think it's bruising. The show is 2020, no need to zoom in. Yeah.
Hey, yo, what's up? It's your boy, sir, of the 2020 Podcast, LLC. Please say the LLC. And I'm back with my brother today. Literally, my LB, Suge The Barber in the building. What's good, bro?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Now, look, to those of you that have been watching, you already know what this is. If you're listening to the audio, this is kind of like an add-on piece, the more extended version of the documentary that we're doing on men and marriage. My brother, LB Sejan, is married. And up to this point, you've heard the perspectives of gentlemen who have been divorced, or gentlemen who are single, like myself. But I wanted to balance that out by having gentlemen who are actively married. So, brother, my first question to you is, what does the concept of marriage mean to you? And where did you receive that first concept, like your first interpretation of marriage?
Well, okay. So first question, the concept of marriage to me is covenant. That's the first word that comes to mind. And a covenant is basically a governing rule or set of rules by which you do something. It's a if covenant is a if then. It's a, if you do this, then you get this.
Okay.
That's what marriage was for me, so to speak. And I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself and so as far as explaining that. So I'll go on to the next question. And when you say who's that first, or what was that first representation that I can think of that I saw, that I can remember, the first representation of marriage for me in a healthy way was I was in middle school. My pastor at the time, the man who baptized me, Reverend John D. Kelly, who's now deceased, and his wife were the first couple that I can remember that I got to be around that was married consistently all the time. And they weren't the perfect picture of marriage, but they were a great picture of marriage. They definitely were a united front.
Okay. And I know within the Black community, a lot of our examples do come from the church. And I appreciate you expressing that. I feel like the Black culture has a history of idolizing our pastors and trying to view them as perfect individuals, but in actuality, they're just humans like us. So for you to say that, to recognize at that age that they weren't the perfect, because I believe there's no such thing as perfect, because perfect is subject to comparison to God, to be honest with you. And with us being human, we're not going to be able to achieve that level when it comes to that particular walk. So with you recognizing that, I commend you, because a lot of times we set ourselves up for a false expectation. And I commend you recognizing that early.
Thank you, man.
Let me move to my next question. Like I told you, the conversation that brought this documentary about was that Black men aren't as forthcoming discussing marriage. What would your response to that statement be?
They're right.
Mhm.
I think most men aren't as forthcoming about their desire to be married. Most men are more so forthcoming about their desire for companionship, which is a different thing than married. You know what I'm saying? And the westernized definition of marriage is to be married to one person. Companionship, you can have a bunch of people. And I think the reason why most men speak more on companionship, even though they may not use that word, so to speak, than marriage, is because I asked a lot of my clients, I'm a barber, years ago, I said, man, something occurred to me today. I was raised by my mother, a great woman, a good woman. And when you think about women, a lot of women were raised to be wives.
Yeah.
Whether it was on purpose or inadvertently, they're raised to say yes to the dress or to have this wedding in their head years before the man even showed up, so to speak. And I said, man, were you raised to survive, or were you raised to be a husband? Who taught you how to treat women? I had to ask myself. My mother didn't teach me how to treat women. Not really. I learned as I went along, what was a good thing to do and what was not a good thing to do or say. My character built me in that way, but there wasn't like hey, son, let me show you something. This is what a woman is from a woman's perspective. This is what I didn't get that. My brother can't say he got that either. Unless you had a certain type of man in your life that showed up and did that. I don't remember anybody ever saying to me, hey man, you're gonna be a husband one day. Don't remember that ever being said. So for a lot of men, most men probably would say the same. Even if they had a father and a husband in their house. Daddy, I'm raising you to be a man. I'm raising you to be a boy. I'm raising you to be strong. All those adjectives is what we get, but we don't normally hear a father say in our generation or even generations past, hey man, I'm raising you to be a loving husband. I'm raising you to be a compassionate man. I'm raising you to be able to deal with your emotions. We don't hear that much. So that's what I do with my sons. I tell my hey man, you're gonna be a husband one day. You're gonna marry a woman and you're gonna treat her right. I say that to them. Me and my wife, we display emotion, whether it's good or bad, in front of our children, because we know where to set that limit at.
Right.
You know, because, well, anyway, yeah, I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself. So
No, I want you to go there, because there's layers to this question, and I think you uncovered another one about that survival versus I guess better man kind of conflict, because I feel like with the older generations, a lot of the things we did were out of survival. That kind of conflicts with a lot of things we deal with today. One of the reasons I feel like a lot of interracial relationships that were frowned upon were due to the fact that coming up, that was a bit of a struggle. We were trying to keep the nuclear Black family strong and replicate that for survival. So I fully subscribe to what you're saying. So if you want to elaborate more, feel free to. Don't
Okay.
definitely stop.
No doubt. Yeah, like just to elaborate on it. All of the things that I found that I wasn't raised to have, that I found, and I found out these things, thank God, before I had children. And a lot of it was through conversation. A lot of it was people telling me these things about myself. Because people normally, your homies or people that really love you, they notice things about you that you don't necessarily notice in a way that you don't notice them. So I had one of my homeboys, and he's like a manly man, so to speak. He's a great father, good man, not married, and he's what a lot of people would call alpha male. And by the way, I hate the term alpha and beta male.
Me too.
Totally hate it. I think it's dumb, especially when you do the research. I'm not a wolf, and the man that wrote the man that wrote
he debunked it himself.
He was talking about wolves, and then he retracted the statement. Well, he retracted the whole book and told the publishing company, hey, take that one off the shelves and put this one. I found through more research that there is actually no alpha male in the wolf pack, blah, blah, blah. But the alpha male thing had blew up already. So they're going to sell what sells, not what's true. But that's a whole another conversation. But he's a manly man. I'm cutting his hair one day. He said, man, bro, you different. I said, what you mean? He said, man, you exude two qualities at the same time fully. And you don't get that in a lot of men. He said, you're compassionate and you're strong. And that sounds simple to me. But he said, nah, bro, most dudes are either so strong that they have no compassion. Don't worry about it. Yeah. You can't open all the toys, baby boy. Oh, good luck with that. He said most men are either so strong that they lack compassion, or they're so compassionate that they lack strength. And I said, you might be right. I can't really tell you. Well, for me, I can tell you where it came from, but I'll hold that for a second. But well, yeah, and what birthed that out of me, honestly, I was molested as a child. And being molested as a child in elementary school, I had to deal through some emotions on my own. I went through therapy, but I breezed through therapy quick. So the person that you met in college that was 24 years old, but I was always talking up or whatever, it came from that because I had to grow up. So childhood stopped at a certain age. And in order to get past what everybody would say, because the whole hood knew what happened to me. So, children are cruel. Yeah. Always have and always will be. And they would say stuff. And for me, it was like I was pulling the 8 Mile before 8 Mile even came about. You know what I mean? I was molested. That's what happened or whatever. Because like after 7 months of therapy, the therapist said, your son is different. He doesn't need more therapy. He can keep coming, but he doesn't need more therapy. I didn't figure out until probably almost 15, 20 years later when I was in college that, yeah, I got through it, but I figured out how to compartmentalize it and lock certain parts away. And it was through conversation, talking, really, and not necessarily talking to a person in conversational form. I was giving my testimony, and being open about it is what allowed me to be able to be an emotional man and be cool and secure and saying, hey man, I'm an emotional man. I don't mind saying it. Because when it comes to emotions, men are taught two things: shut down or get mad. Right? Or we're taught about being angry, right? But we're not taught how to deal with it, because you're not ever just angry. You're angry because, and most men aren't taught to deal with the because. They just shoot straight to being angry. Right. And they don't start thinking about the because until they do something that's a long-lasting consequence. Now they didn't have time to sit up in a cell or in a jail of their own and deal with it but they weren't taught to deal with it early on as teenage boys or teenage girls or whatever. Black folk, I just don't feel like we were really taught to deal with our emotions due to, you know, things like slavery and stuff like that. When you gotta survive coming out of slavery, you really ain't got time to cry. Or you might shed a tear, but you don't have long to really grieve the loss of the person that just got killed or lynched next to you and you just happened to escape. Or, you know what I'm saying? They didn't have the chance to do that. They had to be strong enough to survive because a lot of them had kids already. You got to think back then, they had kids at 14, 15. You know what I'm saying? That was a different breed of strength that our ancestors had. You know what I mean? And not like, you know, I ain't gonna go there, but yeah, that type of stuff. So now come full force, we come through civil rights and Jim Crow, we come through all of these things. And now today, some would say we're on an equal playing field. Some would say we definitely are not. I'm leaning more to the we are not on the, hey, boy, stop. We're not on that equal playing field, but our time's better than they were. In some ways, yes, in some ways, no. I think we're back to suppressing again. Because you know, pandemic happened. A bunch of black people got killed by police on TV and on the internet. Nobody got convicted. And because it's a pandemic, we're in the house. You like the car?
I like that.
You like that? He liked this car. Okay.
Hey.
Okay. We're back to suppressing it, and now getting out your emotions is one of two things. This, Facebook or Instagram, or you go protest. But now the protest is you risking your life, not because the protest is so violent like it was back, because we don't protest like our ancestors protest. That's what we don't understand. Now, I'm not a fan of protests anymore because I did it. Like, you probably remember when I was in Dallas, when Trayvon Martin happened, I was all over the TV. I was in the front of the march. Right. I did it, and it didn't work. But I'm not going to tell you not to go do it because you ain't done it, so you don't know yet. And some things you can't explain to people, they just have to feel it. But when you can't talk, and all you can do is act out, again, there's that anger thing coming on again. All we can do is, Black Lives Matter, and hands up, don't shoot. We can scream it to the top of our lungs and still get shot. Coming full circle into marriage, most men are taught to express that, baby, you hurt me. Mm-hmm. Said something to me, and you actually hurt my feelings, baby. They're not taught to say, they're not taught to do it like that. What they're gonna do is they're gonna run out and go talk to another woman. Or they're gonna go drink. Do you hear this, boy? Mm-hmm. You come with me, okay? Brother ain't hit you, you acting a fool. Oh, hush. Oh, hush. Oh, hush. All right, get out your sister. So now we got a prime example. Stop crying too much. Sometimes I do. But in this case, I'm not going to tell him to stop crying too much because he fell and he put up his head. It hurt. Right. Go ahead and cry. Usually when I tell him not to cry, he stops. Right. But when I don't tell him, hey, don't cry, he stops. Because his attention is elsewhere. Now he on camera. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or even with my 8-year-old, when something happened, I'm very much into saying, hey, listen, that doesn't deserve your tears. You can't cry because you did something and you got caught. No. Or, hey, you fell, that hurt. All right, cry. Go ahead, get it out. All right. Well, now it's been too long. You can't keep crying. Now you got to heal at a certain point. You can't just cry. You got to heal. You got to grieve. You got to go through those stages. And men were not taught to go through those stages. We weren't even taught to eat. I would venture even to say that Black women weren't taught either, but they'll write. They'll get a journal. They'll have a memoir. They'll get it out somehow. They'll talk to one friend. You know, niggas will keep that thing in. Go lift weights and stuff like that. And I heard a guy, man, it's a guy out of Detroit. You might have heard him. His name is Jason Wilson. He has he has his Instagram page is Jason Wilson, Mr. Jason Wilson, or something like that. And then he has an organization called the Cave of Adullam, where the very thing that he does is he teaches Black boys how to deal with their emotions. He's taken hundreds of black boys in Detroit.
I want to play dunk.
You can't play dunk right now.
No, I want.
Society threw them away and said that they were ADD. They were behavior risk and all this other stuff. I was supposed to see that's my fault. I was supposed to hide that real. Now I got to deal with it.
You were talking about the gentleman who was recruiting the kids.
These boys got bad grades, all types of stuff, and all he does, he takes them. He teaches them martial arts. He also bases everything in the Word of God, and he teaches them how to work through their emotions through that thing. He'll give them a task. It might be breaking some wood or doing a certain exercise, doing a push-up or something, and he'll let that boy go to the point where he cried, or he's trying not to cry. And he's like, "What's wrong? What's going on? Say it. I'm scared." He said, "Say it loud. I'm scared." These little boys, "I'm scared." Okay, now hit it again. Boom, he breaks it. Now he only breaks that piece of wood after he admit that this wood intimidated me. Once he admitted the emotion that he was working through, he was able to work through what was stopping him from doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we're not taught as men to do that. And I think that's why marriages are failing, because couples are not saying to each other what they feel. They arguing about it. They're screaming at each other. They talking a whole different language. You talking in this language, she talking in that language. You mad because she don't understand you. She mad because you don't understand her. And I'm saying it the best way I know how. That's the problem. You're saying it the best way you know how. You didn't take the time out to get to know that woman good enough to know how she's going to hear it. Once you figure out how she hears, now you can talk to her in a certain way. And then that gives you a basis. Once you know you saying it in a way that she understands, in the way that she communicates, and she still don't resonate with it, now it's on purpose. Now we can deal with it different. But when you're just screaming at each other, arguing back and forth, saying it in a way, you just repeating the same thing over and over again, and it's not working, and y'all not listening to each other, then y'all get frustrated. Then you get situations like, work husbands and work wives, and little stupid stuff that Kevin Samuels tell everybody that they can. And listen, I'm gonna say this one thing about that, unless you ask another question. Well, unless you ask a question about it, okay. Fellas, if you only make $52,000 a year, Kevin ain't talking about you
at all.
They talk to your woman like that.
No, you cannot.
Not what he calls a high value man.
You are disqualified.
About low, maybe middle, whatever. But you can't go home and talk to your woman like that. You don't make no. I mean, on that point. But yeah, like that emotional standpoint is a big thing for me. I don't mind being, like I said earlier, I don't mind saying that I'm an emotional being, and I like to work through my emotions. Me and my wife have, I think at this point, successfully made a habit of talking through situations. Now, it's not easy. We still have our quirks. I still have my points that make her so frustrated that she don't want to talk no more. She still has her points that make me so frustrated. I'm like, what the hell? But we keep going. I know how to keep her going. She know how to keep me going, because we got to keep this thing going, or keep that conversation going. Lest we gonna end up just arguing, and it's just gonna be a stalemate, and we gonna argue about it again. And I don't like arguing about the same thing over and over again, especially if I feel like we got to a solution. Right. So I'm like, look, like I don't believe in the fallacy of don't go to bed angry. I don't believe that's true. It's impossible. Daddy. Yes, baby.
I see the cocoa melon in the balloon.
You see the cocoa melon in the balloon? Okay. So you be wishing that they could talk when they can't talk, and then when they start talking, parenthood. But yeah, like we made it happen to sit. We didn't sit in that bed plenty of times. The funny thing is, it'll come from the conversation will come from the weirdest point sometimes. It'll come from love and hip hop. We'd be talking about something, and I'll be like, babe, I'll pause. Babe, what you think about that? and we get to talking about something, and somehow it'll bring up a valid thing that we needed to talk about, needed to work through. And it might be heated in the beginning, right? It might be real heated in the beginning. Whichever one of us is going to push to get to the solution does what we do. And by the end of it, we like, I love you, baby. I love you too. Because now we realize that we're stronger, and I know her a little bit more. Now, we haven't been together 20 years or 15 years. We've been together coming up on 4 years. Well, 5. 5 years. This September will be 5 years together, 4 years married. So at one point, about year 2, we had to realize, man, we still getting to know each other. We still got a long way to go. Now, I also don't believe that you have to know a person fully to know that you want to marry them. I didn't. I knew what wife was when I saw her. And if you want my theory on that, I'll give it to you. But I knew what I saw, and I did it on purpose. I met my wife in September of 2017. I married her in September of 2018, and I don't regret it. We moved at a feverish pace. It ain't for everybody, and I'm not saying everybody got to get married quick. I'm saying it don't take 10 years to figure out whether that's your wife or your husband. Right. And I'm just saying, man, even on the legal side, on the tax side, there's benefits to marriage. Why do you think all of the Italian gangsters was married?
Didn't think about that. Did not think about that.
John Gotti, all of them, Caprese, every one of them that you can think of, all the way down to the gooniest goon in the mafia. They was all married. There was a reason why. Because the one person that they could tell everything that the court cannot make testify against them is their wife.
Didn't know that.
You can give a certain amount of money to you, but let me not tell folk how to be criminal. Yeah, it was a lot of different reasons. Like we think of marriage as this monolithic thing that there's only one reason for marriage. There's many reasons for marriage, for one, and you have to figure out if you fit into any of those reasons to be married. Because I don't think everybody can be married. I don't think everybody's made for marriage, and it might be a little hard saying that as a Christian man, but I've seen enough people get married and fail, and do it so many times. It was like, you're just not made for marriage. You're not, because a lot of people don't understand this. Humans aren't made. I don't think we are made to be with one person. I don't think it's not natural for a man to only like one woman in his life, or for a woman to only like or love one man in their life. I don't believe in soulmates either. It's not biblical. I'm Christian. Soulmates ain't biblical. That thing it ain't in the Bible or whatever. Now I'm going somewhere with this. After saying that, I have to follow up with saying that's why marriage is one of the ultimate sacrifices you can make in life. To do something so unnatural and hold to it. I got married. My eyes ain't stopped working.
Right.
My emotions ain't died. Things that were attracted to me did not stop being attracted to me. They are still attracted to me. But the sacrifice I make is say, yeah, you're attracted to me, but you're not worth me leaving her. You're not worth me disrespecting her. I don't care how fine you are. And you're not worth me paying child support or alimony. Ooh, I get
that word is scary.
Them 2 words, they make me itch. Straight up. I'm straight on those, boss. It ain't worth it. And some people don't get to know themselves enough before getting married to understand how they are going to be married. Everybody, like, people still, showing up with these representatives, and that representative show up, that representative good, take you out to eat, pay for everything, hold you, and all that other good stuff, say the right stuff, meet the parents and be good. And then once y'all get married after so long, you can only keep up that front for so long. And I'm like, just be you. There's somebody out here that like your crazy head. Right. somebody will.
I like open the crown.
You want to open that one too?
Open
See, he been with his grandma all Christmas. So now he get to open his presents from here. So now I got to do this all over again.
A repeat.
Repeat.
So that's Sejan, I'm gonna be real with you, bro. Or I guess I should say Suge. I'm out here giving our governments. You've been hitting on the points that I've been curious about, but as someone who wants to be married, and I'm at an age now where I'm delving into investing into myself more. You said something that resonated with me. We weren't kind of raised to be husbands. We were raised to just be men. And for so long, I used that as a cop-out, that I had to use my own accountability to kind of hold myself accountable. Like, yeah, you say you want to be married, but what are you, Jeremy, doing to be a good husband? You can be a good person, but a terrible husband. What are you doing right now to invest in yourself? And so I started educating myself. And it's funny, it's so many people that don't like this, what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it because it helped me. I read up on the love languages and the apology languages. I didn't even know about the apology languages until maybe 2 years ago. But the love languages really, we aren't taught about emotions. And so when you understand how you want to be loved, you can explain it, because you said it yourself. When there's an argument happening, you can't just say what you think. You have to say it in a way that the person who's receiving the information can understand it. So learning my love language taught me to express it in a way that the person who may like words of affirmation can understand that I like acts of service. Not necessarily meaning, here's your plate, sir. More of like, hey, let's work on this project together. Like, you know, understanding it's a give and take situation, and understanding how when I'm wrong, what it sounds like when I'm apologizing, like explaining how I apologize to someone was probably the toughest conversation I've ever had, bro.
Yeah.
Like, boy, you talking about, I was in tears, bro. Like, because I'm sitting here unraveling all this trauma, just being like, yo, I'm just trying to make you understand. And I'm like, what? I was getting frustrated to the point where I was having an anxiety attack. She made me sit up against the wall, stop talking, and just breathe. She was like, yo, now talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just appreciative that I have someone who's patient, because like you were saying, I feel like majority of people want to be married, but not everybody's marriage material as well. I feel like everybody likes the glitz and glam, and my girl's even giving me the inside that with women, there's status to marriage. Blew my mind when I heard that there are certain groups of women who feel your points or your conversation isn't valid unless you are married, you know, or engaged.
Yeah. And so I have something to say about that. And my pastor said this, and I was like, you know what? I never thought about it, but you are absolutely right. And this is, I'll preface this with saying maybe this this might be a strictly Christian thing.
Okay.
A lot of us, because me and my wife went through 2 batteries of marriage counseling, or premarital counseling. We had a married pastor and my pastor who was not married. Great things from both. And when people like to say stuff like, when you're not married, you don't understand. Though I do understand that there's a certain level of understanding that you get when you're in a thing. But there's this other thing called wisdom. When you are wise and you have that gift of wisdom, it kind of can go across anything you do. And what we Christians have to understand is that most of the marital scriptures that we have in the Bible were given by a non-married man. His name is Paul. Paul was married. Paul was a eunuch. He talked to nobody. Now, theoretically, there's a lot of other stuff involved with that or whatever, but just take that into consideration. If you're Christian and you're going through a marital issue, or you're reading the Bible as it pertains to marriage, you're getting your information from an unmarried person. and you believe that, you can question it. So I say, hey, hold your horses on saying that you can't take marital advice from a person that's not married. Same as people like to say, I don't take no relationship advice from Steve Harvey. He been married 3 times. All right, I get it. But good advice is good advice.
Yeah.
I don't care who it comes from. If good advice can come from a bad person,
fact,
it happens all the time. You can say something that matters and have bad character. Good is good no matter what. You can do something bad and still get up and have good things to say. We just happen to we have in our minds, we have to throw you away and you can't be listened to anymore if you made a mistake. Like, well, that's not true. We don't like to do those of us who love our parents, we don't. Give me that, boy. That's not a toy, baby. Put it back. That's not for your room, booby. Give it here. We don't. That's not for your room, boo boo. Just clean out the sink, bubba. Yeah, just clean out the sink, boo boo. Yeah. This is gonna happen a couple more times. You see this man? He be going at it. He be going at it. Hey, yeah, say hi. Say hi.
So big, man.
Man, he get big. So yeah, we want to throw people away, and that's my problem with this cancel culture thing, because the cancel culture has infected everything, right? Not just social media and TV. Cancel culture affects marriage, relationships, friendships. As soon as a person does something that you don't like, we cancel them. Oh, you out of there. Can't listen to you no more. Now I'm like, now if you read Steve Harvey's book, you would know there's some good stuff in there. Now you ain't got to agree with everything. A person once told me some things you have to learn how to eat the meat and spit out the bones. Everything ain't gonna all be good. Because that God might mean for you to listen to this fool and hear this fool say one good thing. And that one good thing that fool is gonna say gonna catapult you to where you need to go. That's all you needed was that one thing that fool had to say. I ain't tell you to argue with the fool. I ain't tell you to go back and forth with the fool. Just listen. It don't hurt you to just listen and walk away. If you disagree, walk away. Hey, boo, you want whooping? Okay, well stop doing this, all right? You're not getting that back, all right, bro? No, but this is a prime example of what. This is a working example of what I tried to explain earlier about emotions with your kids. Now my son said, "This boy beat me up. He really sitting up here beating me up." Now what most black parents gonna do? Whoop him. Now this is what I figured out with my son. If I whoop him, all I get is more screaming and hollering with him. I get more screaming and hollering, and then he goes back and he'll do it again. So what that taught me is whooping don't necessarily work on my son all the time. Gotcha. Now, I listen. Disclaimer: I'm a whoop him. You know me. I'm gonna do that. I'm a fan of the rod. But he 3. Right. Look at this. He 3, y'all. He don't know no other way to work through his emotions yet. Right. And he don't understand. I can't teach him because he don't understand. So the only thing that I can really do at this point is let him do it for a second. Let him go so far. Pull that leash back. Hey man, it's time to come back. Now you done got it out. Because eventually, once he realizes that he ain't gonna get what he wants, he gonna stop. Mm-hmm. So now I don't stunt him. He don't get 8 years old and not want to tell his daddy what's wrong. I gotta pull that out of my 8-year-old. Even when I make him mad because I told him to do something he don't want to do, I make it a habit to, hey, tell me how you feel. You're not gonna get in trouble for telling me how you feel. You got in trouble for lying. But you ain't gonna get in trouble for telling me how you feel. Because what I don't want to happen is in the future, because he don't want to tell me how he feels, or he's scared to tell me or his mother how he feels, he on Twitter saying stuff like, I'm gonna shoot everybody today at school, y'all. Right. Like the boy, I'm pretty sure you heard about what happened up here in Michigan. That boy put all of that on Twitter. His friends saw it and laughed at it. And you know what I'm saying? Like when they do stuff like that, it's usually because at some point, emotionally, they weren't able to get it out, or somebody didn't listen when they tried to get it out. So I'm trying to make an effort to teach my kids to go ahead and tell me how you feel. So then when they grow up they're in their friendships, in their marriages, that's going in your room.
Mommy wanted me to ask you. Start.
If I want this, so that's what happened. Now she's going through my stuff. This ain't even mine. Why she asking me if I want this? No, I don't know. Just tell her just leave it up here, but tell her this is hers. It's not mine.
Right.
Oh yeah, and then he gonna scream it down to the basement. Kids are funny. So yeah, so that they grow up and they're able to tell people how they feel. And then the other hurdle is because they're Black men. If either one of my sons enters corporate America or even entrepreneurship, I have to teach them not how to code switch, but when to shut up and when to speak up. Because in certain situations, you gotta know when to just be like, what I got to say is valid for how I feel, but it's not gonna be valid for business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna work for what I need to do. I'm not gonna survive. T.I. said it best. Hey man, fight them folks from the jail. Go ahead, let them take you in. don't fight outside the car. No, that's where you die at.
Right.
Stuff you, get you a lawyer, all that, all that other type of stuff or whatever. But we ain't talking about that. We talking about marriage right now. And what other questions you got? Oh, that's what I want to talk about. Them love languages. Both of our marriage counselors, our premarital counselors made us read the book. Both. I had read the book already three or four times. The 5 love languages is the book that I would give to any girl that I was dating. I just feel like I couldn't get through there no other way. I would give her that book. Say, read this, and we're gonna talk. None of them read it until my wife. He want to go downstairs. They none of them read it until my wife, and we both actually had read the book before we even were engaged or anything. We bought new copies of it when we got married. The first counselor was like, hey, I want you to read this book, and not, at this time when you read it, I want you to highlight anything that sticks out pertaining to you. And when we got to the end of the book, he said, all right, now y'all switch books. You take her book and she take your book. And you read each other's books and see. Now you can see what stands out, because everything in the love language book doesn't pertain to you. Everything about a person that loves physical touch doesn't mean that they love everything about physical touch.
Right.
And certain things that, pertain to physical touch. So in order for you, that's what we did with that. And then the other biggest bit of advice that we got, the first bit of advice. Day one, we sat down, and that man, his name is Pastor Temple. Pastor Temple, he talked funny. He's speaking big words. Like, such a wonderful, extemporaneous, exemplary day. That's how he talked. I'm telling you, I can send you text messages. That's how he always talked. That's just authentically him. He said, all right, y'all. So the first bit of marital advice I'm going to give y'all, I need y'all to listen to me good. It's real simple. Being right is overrated. And it blew my mind. It was that quick. It was like that man read me a whole book. And then folks I work with. I understood exactly what he explained it, but he didn't have to explain it to me after that. Because a lot of us need to understand that, not just in our marital or all the relationships, platonic, sexual. We need to understand that any relationship with your homeboys, sometimes to be right is to mess up the relationship.
Mm.
Especially in a marriage. If I prove her wrong today, is she gonna see that as, oh, he was just trying to tell me the right thing, or is she gonna see it as, I'm trying to be her daddy? Or is she gonna see it as he tried to make me look stupid, or now he made me feel stupid by proving me wrong? Sometimes you have to just let people realize that they're wrong. It's easier that way. Or, for a man or for a woman, proving that person wrong could be the balance between whether or not you're gonna get something that or not. That's real. Or for me, it's like, okay, the older I get, the more peace, the bigger the word peace becomes to me, the older I get. I understand now why the old folk come home, they're like, hey, be quiet. Stop talking so much. Stop. I just want quiet when I come home. I never understood that. Now I do. It's peace. You know what I'm saying? And everybody has to find that peaceful place in their home. Even when your home might be chaotic, you have to figure out where peace is in your house. And as a man, you have to figure out when your home is not peaceful, because it's your responsibility to bring it back into balance. I used to think, and I said it that way, but what I meant, it's on both of y'all. I used to feel like, man, it's my job. I got to do this. When you do stuff like that as a man, fellas, you taking on a responsibility that was built for both of y'all. You got married, two people become one flesh. That one flesh is stronger than those two fleshes. And when you start doing stuff apart, the further apart you get, and you trying to hold everything, hold everything on your back, or I put the family on my back. Learn how to say, hey, my back tired, baby. You got any strength? Because balance ain't real, number one. Balance ain't real, and it ain't 50-50. If I got 80, she might have that 20. Or if she ain't got but 40, I'm praying that I'm coming up with 60.
Right.
We're gonna get as close as we got to get to 100 as possible. Like, man, prime example, my wife got a promotion almost 2 years ago now. She's an engineer, and this was a big promotion. I know my wife. I knew that this promotion was gonna pull more out of her than ever had been pulled. Because now she boss lady is like the plant manager, her. Is plant manager, her boss, her. That's everybody else under her. You know what I'm saying? So now you got a man, and I'm like, all right, I'm doing the math. I'm looking at the paper. She's like, think I should take this offer, this, that, and the third. I'm like, yeah, babe, I know you want to go further in the company. Go ahead and do it. On the other side of my head, I'm not saying this to her yet. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to figure out how to pick up a lot of slack, because she not gonna have it some days when she get home. Now, at the time she gets this promotion, we got getting ready to be 1-year-old and a 6-year-old. And man, I just thank God that I was so engrafted in fatherhood even before I became a father, because it prepared me for actual fatherhood. And what I mean by that is, I don't mind changing diapers. I don't mind cleaning up. I don't mind, taking out the garbage, washing dishes, cleaning toilets. I don't mind all of that stuff. Me and my wife balancing this probably was one of your questions when it comes to the balance of the house financially and otherwise, because some men got that thing in their head where I pay the bills and you do the house. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying you have to know if that's actually comfortable for your house.
Right.
If it works for your house, fine. I don't have a problem with you paying all of the bills and she just cleaning the house. She cool with that. The problem comes in where she like, well, man, I actually did love to do the job that I did before we met. I quit my job because you wanted me to. I want to go back to work. Well, now y'all got kids. She want to go back to work. That means you got to jump in with these kids, and you used to not helping with them kids. So now y'all got a problem on y'all head. Now y'all got to rebalance this thing, and this is going to be a hard rebalance. It's going to be a hard reset. It's not going to be easy to do that, so to speak. In my household, we're cool with splitting the bills. We don't split all of them. Some of them, that's my bill. Some of them, that's our bill. We split the mortgage. We split a lot of bills. We have a family account. I got my personal account, my business account. She got her personal account and her business account. And that's balanced for us. That's how we do it. And that's comfortable for us. It don't have to be comfortable for you, but make sure that your mate agrees with it, because the Bible does not tell you how to balance the books either.
That's right.
I don't even think the Quran does either. I think he left those things up to the personality of the house, so to speak. Because some men use that money thing, they use it as a shield and they use it as a buckler. But they beat the house over with. I pay the bills. But you don't go to the football game for the boys.
Right. You're not emotionally available, though.
Exactly. I pay the bills. You ain't never had parent teacher conference.
Right.
Pay the bills. You don't know what your son means when he tells you that I did this today, Daddy. All he really looking for is for you to say good job. But because you spend so much time at work, and that's why as a barber, I had to figure out that work-life balance for myself and promise that I wasn't gonna be at the shop all the time and only be at home a little bit. Because a lot of people that work all them overtime hours and marriages and stuff like that all the time, they're doing it for one or two reasons. They're in such a financial rut that they have to work that many hours to make the house work financially, or they don't like being at home. And because they don't like being at home, they do overtime all the time. Now, pandemic messed that up.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't have no choice but to be at home. Come here. Come here. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. You can't go downstairs right now, but you gotta wait, okay? Okay. All right. Give me her. Give me her. Okay. Definitely different. Well, was you at homecoming the last time I came?
Mm-mm.
He wasn't even walking in.
That joker huge, boy.
Man, this big bro. Stop it. I might just give him a whip just because he's done so much. Stop it. See, right now, all he wants is my attention.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
I get it. So it's like, all right, and as I'm saying these things, I'm learning these things as a father. My 8-year-old he'll be like, now, okay, so to understand the dynamic, my 8-year-old is technically my stepson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the term stepson or father. I've been in his life since he was 3. That's my son. Right. And I don't have a problem with his father. Me and his father are actually pretty cool now. That's a whole nother show. Whatever. But we got a good situation as far as the co-parenting and stuff like that or whatever. But I don't make him call me daddy. Right? He calls me by my first name. Now, when we was coming up, that's taboo. You don't call no dog by their first name. Right. But I'm like, yeah, don't call me Mr. Junkins. Like, no, don't do it. Whatever. Yes, baby. So you want some candy? You only get one piece of candy. That's it. We're about to have you go to bed. Come on, give it here. Give me. Bro, he's still trying. I'm telling him okay. So yeah, I don't make him call me daddy because I'm not so engrafted in the word daddy that I don't realize the work that I do, because he realizes the work that I do. So I don't need him to call me daddy. He respects me. That's what I need. I need his respect. Now, what he needs from me is what's the word? What is that word that we all? I like this word that we all look for as men. Not confirmation. I forgot the word I'm looking for, but it's something that all of us men look for, especially from validation. Validation, yeah. He looks for validation from me. And it's sometimes it's about the dumbest, smallest stuff, and I have to realize the boy he just want me to no problem, baby. He just want me to say good job. He'll be like, say John, watch this. And I'll be like, what was that? Now, sometimes I'll be like, boy, that was dumb. I don't know what you doing. But the more I realize he just wants me to say, man, that was dope. Good job. Even if it wasn't, because at 8, that matters. Right. He's not 16. He's not, a 20-year-old man. He's an 8-year-old boy that needs somebody to say, hey, man, that was good. So I give him that validation. So he don't have to go outside this household to get it nowhere else. He ain't got to go to no game. He ain't got to go to no fraternity. He ain't got to go to no organization. He doesn't have to go even to the church for it, because he gets it at home. Because the first version of God is supposed to be right here in this house. I'm supposed to be what that is. I'm the first pastor that he has.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And that's the mantle of a man. If you was gonna chop this thing up and put anything up, I'll put that part. That's the first mantle of being a man, being a father, and being a mother, is making sure that your children don't have to go outside of you to find certain things. So if I have a daughter, I have to make sure that she don't have to look for daddy and no other nigga. I'm her daddy. You her husband. My wife wasn't looking for daddy when we found each other. See what I'm saying? So I could be her husband, because I can't be your husband and your daddy. That don't work right. Because if you look at me as both, when I correct you, you don't know which one of us to respect.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because you respect your daddy a different way than you respect your husband. You hurt by your husband when he corrects you, but you take your daddy's correction.
Right.
That ain't the same person. That's two different people.
Right.
And also, as a man, I have to respect my wife and her father's relationship. What that means is I have to be so much secure in my manhood that I don't feel the need to step in and say, "Hey, man, I'm her husband. You don't got it." Because he not trying to. I have a great relationship with my in-laws. Number one, they're great people, so I know they're never trying to be disrespectful. They're never trying to run my household for me. Even if it seems that way, that's not what they're trying to do. So you got to know how to look at the heart of the situation. You want a bite? You want some more? You don't want no more? You don't like it? Oh, too bad. Okay, I go.
So essentially, to be a husband, you have to be able to minister to your home first in all facets.
You got to be able to.
And what I'm understanding is just like in church, the minister as a way of delivering that word and breaking it down so it's understandable and digestible and able to be applied, you know.
Okay. 1 second. Zamir, where you at? You in the basement? Okay, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna take the laptop with me. I'll say that one more time, brother.
No, I'm just come to the realization that I'm understanding the term being a minister of the home. And for the longest, I heard that, but didn't understand what it meant. So to understand that it means essentially being able to be the example, you know, be the compassionate, yet soft-spoken, yes, leader of the household.
Yep.
It's okay.
You gotta know when to speak hard, when to speak soft. Because if you know when or how to speak to your family, then you can get what you need out of them. Now, I haven't mastered it yet. I know the principle. That don't necessarily mean I've perfected it yet. I'm still trying to perfecting that part out, because I'm not perfect myself. There you go.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with. Then another thing is, if you don't admit to yourself and to your household that you're not perfect and you ain't got all the answers, then when you're wrong, what's gonna happen is you're gonna be prideful. I be having. I smell the milk. When they get close to the date, I smell the milk.
Hey, I don't blame you.
All right, get your milk. It's right there. Here you go.
He's cheering. That's adorable.
Dog. So
what I'm seeing is I'm drawing parallels to. I was recently talking to someone about Jesus, and it's a real big parallel in how Jesus spoke. You were saying that being right is overrated. I'm thinking about the young lady who they were about to stone. And Jesus didn't even say, "Hey, y'all sin too, leave her alone." You know, Muhammad, I see you over there. You know what you've been up to. You know, I already know. He just said, if to he who is without sin, cast the first stone. He ain't call no names. He ain't play nobody out. He ain't bash nobody. He ain't cancel nobody. He just like, well, if you ain't do it, you know what I'm saying? What's up? Like,
there's another theological side to that statement that he made.
Ooh, bless me. Hit me with it.
So some theologians say he made that statement, he who was without sin cast the first stone. And the Bible is full of customs. Huh? The dinosaurs? I'm gonna get it for you in a minute, baby. Okay? I can't get not yet, boopy. A lot of theologians first say, so, and the reason why I talk about customs and stuff like that, the custom may not have been in the Bible. The custom was Jewish. Just like we have certain things that are customary as Black people, like that's a Black custom. Right. That's a Black custom. You know what I'm saying? That's not religious, so to speak. Right. So in that Jewish custom, when he did it, they say that he had kneeled down and he drew something in the sand. Yes. And that symbol that he drew in the sand basically meant, okay, cool. Since y'all gonna say this about this woman and all this stuff, he who was without sin cast the first stone. If any one of them had cast the stone and had been found to be of sin, they would die. And I might be wrong, but I think they and their family or something like that. So that's the thing about Jesus. They always tried to come at him. You want to take your shirt off, Booby? You want to take your shirt off? Okay. So when he said that, it was more than just hey, if you ain't perfect, don't say nothing. It was custom. They respected that custom. So that is the thing. She had sin. Jesus didn't let her get away with it either. Said, hey, don't do that no more. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot wrapped up in that battery of scriptures or whatever. But that's why I say cancel culture sucks. If Jesus wasn't throwing folk away, neither am I. Now, a consequence is real. I preached the message a long time. Last time I preached this message, and the basis of it was, man, the problem with a lot of us is that we want grace without consequence. And that's not, even in our marriages, you don't always, sometimes you get grace and mercy. That would mean you didn't get the punishment that you deserved. You didn't get punishment at all. But sometimes you just get grace, which means you don't get what you deserve, but you get something. Right. So if I have premarital sex, I may not get a disease, but I might have a baby. And that being that baby mama might never be right. It's the consequence of sin. Right. And it's like, oh man, we want to do wrong. We want to do wrong on purpose. We want God to show us grace, forget about it, and we don't want to atone for it, or like we don't want any consequence at all. That's childish. Once you know what you did, you kind of are held to that rule. You know what I mean? And oh, you want that too? Okay. Uh-oh. Yeah. It's downstairs. Did you lose me? No, I'm still here. Okay, my phone has started reading. It's downstairs somewhere. I forgot. Here we go. It should be either on the couch or on the desk. I don't think I brought it up here. I
can't open.
It's open, boo boo. I'm trying. I didn't mess something up with this damn Zoom screen. Okay. I can't call you right now, boss. I'm on the show. Anyway, I'm just gonna run it like this. Yeah, I'm still here. We're wrapping up anyway. We're on the last leg. No doubt. What was the last thing I said, bro? You were talking about how, the people want grace without consequence. Yeah. We want grace without consequence. And when it comes to God, we want that grace without the consequence, and we don't want to atone the relationship. That's the biggest part of it. That's why David is who he is biblically. Not because he was a perfect man. If you ever read about David, man, David did a lot of dumb stuff. He messed up a lot.
A lot.
Thing about David was every time he messed up, he was so real about his mess up. And he was so real about his relationship with God. That's what repentance is. Psalm 151, I believe. It's either 150 or 151, where he says, let me pull this thing up. I don't want to misquote it. Because it's crazy because, dude, I literally looked at this same chapter for years. It was the only thing I studied because I'm like, man, this is what the real picture of what it really means to repent. We think repent means, Lord, forgive me of my sins. I'm like, no. No, that ain't it either. Where was that? Maybe it's on 50. I'm trying not to make it silent right now. I'm trying to find this one scripture. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit down within me. Do not cast me away from your presence, and do not take your Holy Spirit from me. Now, that's just 2 scriptures out of a whole chapter. And I believe in order to properly study scripture, you got to know what comes before and what is after.
Context, yeah.
Context. That whole chapter, I believe, chronologically is immediately after he had done what he did with Bathsheba. Right? So his thing was, they say David laid, Nathan told him that baby gonna die. He prayed that the baby wasn't gonna die. While she was giving birth, he laid on his face outside the doors and he prayed and he begged God not to kill that baby. When they came out and said the baby did, he got up and he wrote the scripture. He was so engrafted in his relationship with God. And I believe that's what repentance is. It ain't just forgive me, it's making the relationship right. It's making sure that we still can communicate on a balanced level, not just do away with each other. We have to do the same with our wives. I'm not just gonna ask you to forgive me, baby. I'm gonna show you why you can forgive me. And I'm gonna also make sure that our relationship, I'm gonna be honest with you about that thing. It's like a dude getting in a situation where he cheated on his wife. You're not gonna get nowhere with her until she know why you did it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that why you did it was because she fat, she gained some weight. Why can't I make this dang on screen big again? Or whatever. You gonna have to tell her something about that, or why you said whatever you said to your lady, or whatever. You gotta make that known why. You gotta talk about, because we want to be forgiven by people, but we don't want to bring up what we, man, my bad, but we don't want that person to say, well, listen, man, when you did that, I felt like this, and I need to know. We don't want to go down that road. We want to quit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can't do that with our mates. I think a lot of marriages fail because one or both parties don't want to properly talk to each other about what happened. They don't want to dig into it. They don't, because you don't want to hear nobody talk bad about you or talk about the part of you that ain't good. You know what I'm saying? They do that for too long. You don't want to hear it. So I'm wrong. Why you always got to bring it up? Nah, man, you got to go through that thing. And David was always willing.
Let me ask you this then, because it makes sense now that if we apply that to the marriage part. Do you think the reason that so many men also aren't discussing marriage is because it forces them to think what it is to be a husband, and now you're forced to compare yourself to what that standard is?
Yes, comparing yourself to, I think that could definitely be true. Forced to compare yourself to the standard of what marriage is. The problem is there's not an even kill of what marriage is in the communities that we come from. It's a bunch of different examples. Like when our parents was coming up, grandma, I can't get this open, baby boy. Grandma and granddad were the shining example of what it was. Here, what it was to be married. Now we found out in our generation that grandma and grandpa wasn't perfect either.
Mm-hmm.
But our moms and dads thought that they was. So they got married too. You know what I'm saying? The examples, they're there. But with social media and all that type of stuff, the internet has come about. So much stuff gets out. You know, a prime example, Jada and Will Smith whole little situation. And we only read the headline.
Right. That part.
Social media doesn't make you, it lacks details. Because that's how we do. We don't give the details. We don't read the details. We only read the headline. And we believe, we make an assumption, like somebody sending you a text message and you make a whole assumption off of how they said it. And it was just words, right? That's what we do. Because one thing I gotta notice about Jada and Will is they so unbothered about what all these niggas saying about their marriage.
Right.
And you think Jada, you think Will Smith found out when you found out?
Right. Right.
He knew that 3 years ago, fam.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the examples that we look at. I was going back and forth with somebody earlier today on social media. Somebody had put up a post and said, is it wrong if your homeboy bang your side chick? Now my response was, dang, I ain't no niggas was catching emotions over side chicks, just in a joking manner. Right. And then another dude said something else, and he had got on marriage, and I'm like, well, it's really not a real thing to me because I don't believe in having side chicks. And you can tell he was one of the ones that he listened to Kevin Samuels. He said, man, them side chicks is why a lot of marriages, the marriages that last long, that's how they made it long, because he had a side chick. That marriage ain't last long. That marriage was doomed.
Right.
It just took 20 years to find out that it was doomed.
Right. That was a slow cancer. Yeah, bro.
It's like I think it's worth it to find good examples of marriage. That's one thing that keeps me still wanting to be married. I love my wife. I'm in love with my wife. I still want to be married to my wife. Even in the hard things that we've been through together. The hard things me and my wife have been through together only brought us closer together because we were willing to do the work to get to the good part of it, so to speak. But I think, I don't care if you can't find but one good couple in your circle. Look to that good couple. If you don't find none, be the good couple. It's simple to me. People just make it seem like it's so hard to be faithful. I'm like, well, what are your examples? If you want to be, because you're not making it seem like it's hard for you to want to be a millionaire. You post that every day. All these goals you got or whatever. But why is marriage not your goal? I would admonish men to ask themselves that question. If you devalue marriage, why is marriage not your goal? How long you gonna talk to a bunch of different women? Because let me tell you something, fam. After a certain age, them extremities don't work like they used to. You ain't horny as you used to be around them 40s and them 50s. You can be horny all you want to, that thing, man, it ain't work like it used to. That's why when you see an old, healthy couple, it's one of the best friendships you've ever seen. Because it morphed into something different. It morphed into, it went from a physical thing when they was young and they could do that. And then that physicality got platonic. They became friends. They didn't even need sex at a certain point in their marriage, whether they could have it or not. They needed the companionship of being with each other. A great pastor just passed in November in Detroit, Bishop John Drew Sheard. His wife had passed last year of COVID. He wasn't really sick or anything like that that I knew of. And I've heard plenty of stories just like this. It was like one of them died and that they was married. I'm 38 years old. They've been married longer than I've been on this earth. Way longer than I've been on this earth. That's like to hear the husband passed. And then shortly thereafter, the wife passed. She wasn't sick, with no complications. She just passed. She died of a broken heart. It sounds weird, but that's a beautiful death to me.
I agree.
I would hope that me and my wife could grow so old together that when she passed, I just don't want to be and God would just allow me to come home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a bond that you gotta work for. It just don't come because you said, "Will you marry me?" and I love you. It don't just come because you having good sex or because one of y'all got a whole lot of money and y'all ain't gotta worry about it. You gotta work for that type of bond. And that's the best. This marriage is the best job I ever had. Yes, it's a job. But at this point, marriage is the best job I ever had, bro. I love this job.
Hey, this is Mystique.
This is Mr. Everlasting.
And this is the Safe Word.
Safe Word. Y'all make sure y'all join us every first and third Friday of the month. Every month. We are in season 3.
Season 3.
Y'all already know what it is, man. Tap in.